Well, there you see live pictures coming through from the National Assembly, where big news, lots of people expecting to see who will emerge Speaker, who will emerge Deputy Speaker, who will emerge Senate President and Deputy Senate President. Will the APC block the members, as they say, those who go against the party's rule? What about the PDP supporting parties contrary to what the APC already endorsed? So all of those will reveal itself in good time, and you bet that we will be here to bring you all of the stories as we get them. Well, now we've got Mr. George AK, who is a legal practitioner, yes, also to shed some light, weigh in on what's making the rounds at the moment, and a little further. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's does it surprise you, first of all, when you hear vote buying on the just on the day that these elections for leadership will hold?
You see, the culture of Nigerian election it works pari passu with vote buying. We must say that very, very frankly. Both at the level of at the ward level, at the collection level, if time permits them and if the opportunities exist, they will buy whatever resort they want to buy. There is no doubt that all the people who emerged as senator-elect or House of Representative-elect, they, so to speak, they are quite broke in the sense that they are coming out from elections. And the election is quite a capital-intensive project. So anywhere they can, that's why you are seeing all this welcome package. If you ever touch that welcome package, they will never resume. You know, those are things that they want. So if by any way there is some $5,000 or some $10,000, as the case may be, that goes their way for them to be able to vote for a particular candidate, they will do that. For the person who is also giving this, they said the alleged amount, as it were, is also a high-stake job for him. I mean, position of a speaker is not small. If we go by what this Jibril Aminu was, I think that's the campaign manager of the current campaign manager of Judgement. Honorable Judgement. When he was chairman of our appropriation committee, one of the things he alleged against Dogara is that Dogara took 1.4 billion to himself and was now disbursing a few amount of money, I mean, little monies to other legislators that come and all of that. So if for any reason there is a goal of a 1.4 billion, depending on what the budget padding is going to look like, then if he gave all manners of documents, both the police, EFCC, and he thought Nigeria was going to burn. But we are shockless people. That was the end of the matter. So the point I'm making is that the stake is high, both for the giver and for the receiver. You know, there's this assuming that is correct. There's also this small matter of whether or not all the senators elected will be present. We know that the judge did rule on INEC and Rocha Okorocha. So, but at the moment, I'm not sure if I've updated to find out whether or not he has been issued his certificate of return. What do you see playing out? Do you see him resuming with the senators on this day? You see, INEC is really at an anguish regarding giving that certificate. The reason is that INEC ordinarily obeys court orders. They are known for obeying court orders. In short, that's their policy. Ordinarily? Ordinarily, they do. But you see, you can see that some reluctance in obeying that court order. The reason is that, yes, that is what the court has said, and as it stands now, that is the court order. Yeah. Whether it is good or not, that is the position of the court, and it must be obeyed, unless and until it is challenged.
Now, what INEC said is that it will wait and then do the needful after studying the judgment of the court.
You just confirmed the reluctance that I'm talking about. Otherwise, they would have invited him the following day to come and take his certificate of return and then join these people to be able to be sworn in tomorrow.
But don't they always review or analyze court judgment before executing?
It doesn't take so much to analyze it.
How much time does it need? How much time does INEC need to analyze the...
No. It depends on the frame of mind of INEC at that point in time. for instance, INEC can give that certificate that particular evening, the following day. All it takes is the legal department doing a one-page, analysis, so to speak, because, they cannot sit and appeal, on a court judgment. The whole idea is that, should we obey it? And the only thing to consider is that there was a court judgment in Imo State restraining INEC from giving that. But as much as they are court of concurrent jurisdiction, that one came a lot earlier, and the principle is the one that is later in time, takes precedence. So it takes.
Which is this one?
Yes, which is this one. But you see, I have my.
In the case of the rerun elections in Bauchi State, for instance, INEC had to wait and go through the process again, and then looked at the books with regards to how the elections turned out, set up supplementary elections, and then went ahead to execute that process.
Yeah, you just answered your
question. So, if you say that it may just take just a one paper or maybe one paragraph for INEC to just declare and then give him his certificate,
you just
does it occur to you? Does it then occur to you that this process could actually be longer than you think it should be?
You see, the one you are comparing this court judgment with has to take some processes. Or run election, do this and all of that. There are a lot of things that need to be done before a decision, or they can arrive at a decision. But this is a situation where the court says, you withheld this man's certificate of return unjustly or unlawfully. Give it to him. And the exercise of giving does not take many minutes.
Where then is the place of the duress? Because this was largely based on the story.
Okay, let's not get into that judgment particularly.
Let me read some part of it now.
Yes.
Because it says that the Federal High Court, Justice Okonobang, presided over the particular matter, and there are some parts of that. If I could just read some part of it, it says once the declaration is made under Section 68C of the Electoral Act, INEC has become functus officio, and INEC has no lawful authority to withhold the certificate of return for any reason whatsoever. Therefore, the issue of duress is unknown to both the Electoral Act and the Constitution.
Okay. Let's now zero into this judgment, since it has already been delivered. So we are free at least to discuss it, before probably it goes to the appeal court. I don't know whether they have gone to appeal. First and foremost, let me front load my position on that judgment, because before long now you will chase me out of this place. so that you know where I'm coming from, so we can walk from answer to question.
We can give an adjourned date.
so walk from answer to question. You see that every judgment, law itself is an instrument of social engineering, and every judgment is supposed to cure something. It's supposed to enforce something. The implication of that judgment, from a pedestrian standpoint, and that is what law is all about, because we over and above all the esoteric language we use, whereas thereafter and all of that, both in practice and in court, what is important is that what does the man out there, the reasonable man in the street, say about a particular judgment? Because that is meant for him. It's meant for. It's not meant for. Yeah, sure. Okay. It's not meant for lawyers alone. It's meant for the society. And I'm saying the implication of that judgment is that all you now require, based on this judgment, is that once you are contesting election, go and look out for who the returning officer is. On the eve of that election or after the election, go and kidnap him, hold him to ransom, either put a gun on his head or do whatever that comes on that duress and all of that, and get him to announce your result. Once he announces you as winner, that's what this judgment is saying. The INEC becomes functus officio. The rest of the people can now go to court and all of that. And that thing is dangerous. It's dangerous in the sense that, okay, let us look at that judgment in the first instance. A lot of lawyers have argued, Chamberlain, that the court did not even have jurisdiction in the first instance. And I say, no, the court has jurisdiction. Court has jurisdiction in the sense that they are saying that it is a post-election matter and that it should go to the tribunal. Beautiful. You see, there are 4 provisions in the Electoral Act that talks about access to court in the first instance. You see, it is Section 138, and that Section 138 has 4 provisions. What can allow you get into the court? It is if the person that you are even contesting, challenging his election, was not qualified ab initio to contest that election. Second one is that if if there was election was invalid as a result of corrupt practices or non-compliance with the act. The third one is that if the person was not duly elected by majority of the lawful votes cast in the election. And the fourth one is that if the man was nominated by his party and but unlawfully excluded from the election. In all of these four, the Rochas' case does not come into any of them. Yeah. You get the point? So he goes out of it. And it's not like everything that happens, within a post-election issue must always go to the tribunal. If for any reason you kill somebody, you'll be charged for murder. There will be no provision in the Electoral Act to charge you.
Was the judge not right when he then said the question of duress is unknown to the law? And
no, we're coming to this question of duress, but what I'm talking about
grounds
a lot of
people
who said he didn't have jurisdiction to do that. He has jurisdiction to do that because here is an aggrieved politician. Rochas was aggrieved. Where is he going to vent his grievances? It will be in the law court according to section 66B, subsection 6B of the Constitution, and even 46, where you can approach the court if you have any issues. You get the point? So he goes to the court, and those who win election don't go to the tribunal. There's no provision in this place for somebody who won an election.
So even though
it's always the person who lost the election that all these four provisions, or these four grounds, make provision for. So Rochas now goes to the court to almost like he was going for mandamus, and I think that's what he went for. Look, I have lawfully contested an election, and I have won as declared by INEC. But INEC, as a statutory organization, has refused to give me my certificate of certificate of return. But please, court, compel them to give me. I think that must be his prayer. So the court had jurisdiction. But now let's talk about the issue of this duress that we are talking about. INEC can allege duress, but they are not capable of determining duress. They don't know what duress is.
It's not enough for them to rely on their staff that's out there on the field.
Good. The thing has to go through some kind of evidential proof before you can establish duress. Before I became a lawyer, I used to think that if you stole anything that doesn't belong, if you took anything that doesn't belong to you, you are charged for you would have stolen, or you are charged for stealing. No. Until I now found out that you have to have an intention to permanently deprive the person of the use of it. Okay. If for any reason you return it, you'll be charged for the lease of that thing.
We have to lump a lot of things together because of our time. So let me go back to that section 68C, which the court spoke about, talking about decision of returning officer on ballot papers. It says, the decision of the returning officer on any question arising from or relating to, then all the way to C.
Yes.
Declaration of scores of candidates and the return of a candidate shall be final, subject to review by a tribunal or court in an election petition proceedings under this act. So
beautiful. I'd like you to take note of the word declaration. You get the point? So, and I'd like to make a difference, a distinction between announcement and declaration. Announcement is when you pronounce information.
Yeah.
Declaration has a content of voluntariness, and it also has a content of ownership of the content of what you have declared. So that is why the Electoral Act uses the word declare. And the court, with due respect, failed to interrogate the validity of what was a declaration. Because it relied so much on this provision that the declaration had been made. And evidence was being adduced. Because when John Sonyeriri, that's the person who contested on that PDP, applied for a joinder, I was happy about that because he was the person who was going to come with the evidence that is required to prove duress. Like I said, INEC is not capable of proving duress. Okay. Because you see, duress, let me make this point. The duress is proven under what we call PIT. Was there a promise? Was there an inducement? Was there a threat to life or bodily harm? I mean, that is calculated to cause bodily harm or whatever. So by the time you ground all of this, then you can come up with what is duress.
All right, we'll interrogate it a little further, but still keeping an eye on the matter, the big issue for the day, which is coming up much later. Let's head to Larry. I think he's got a senator with him there. Larry.
Yeah, Chamberlain, we are still here in the National Assembly. Everything is getting ready. The lawmakers are arriving, and I can tell you both halls are filling up very, very quickly. Right now, I have standing here with me one of those that will be contesting for a position today in the Senate. I have with me Senator Gaya. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today? And how are Nigerians doing? Well, we are here in the National Assembly. This is my fourth time for this inauguration.
Yes.
And this is the first time I'm running for a position of Deputy Senate President. First, I was a principal officer during the 6th Senate. And now, as a former governor, whereby I led government house 1993, we work with late Otedla was my colleague, and now I'm one of the most ranking in the Northern Nigeria. And now I'm contesting the position of Deputy Senate President.
Okay, I would just like to understand from you, what's the atmosphere like? You know, we've been talking from the outside as one that has been meeting lawmakers, trying to get their votes and all. What's it been like?
The feeling is just like normal election days, and a little bit different than than the normal election outside. But internally, we are friendly with everybody. It's just a matter of contest. If you win, fine. You don't win, still okay. God did not destine for you, but God doesn't. We'll have to be there. And I think we are going to work as a team. I always believe that the National Assembly should be treated as assembly of pure patriotic Nigerians. Like I came from Kano South.
Yes.
I believe I'm a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So whatever I do, I look at the issues related or globally or nationally, so that I can maintain that respect and value. So all the senators are like that, and we don't talk of religion, we don't talk of zone, because we felt the elections, they take one of us can contest for any of the elections.
Okay, now, just some hours ago, the party, your party, the All Progressive Congress, came out and took a position on the same position you're contesting and said they want another senator to be the one that party members support.
You see, there is our system in the National Assembly. Ranking is very important, even in the armed forces, even in the anywhere, ranking is important. And even in the society, we respect elders. I've been here for 12 years, going 16 years, and I had the experience of leading this thing. And we have reasons why we did that, why I'm contesting. We have 4 zones that really deliver the president. Northeast, Northwest, North Central, and Southwest. And those zones were all given positions. The Northeast got the position of the Senate President. North Central got the position of Deputy Senate President, and Southwest got position of Speaker, and Northwest got nothing with 6 million votes with 17 senators.
Yes.
And so we said, no, we need to contest with that position.
Yeah, but what about the party position?
But you see, the party has its own reason. I have always respected the party. But the issue that I think there was imbalance on the Northwest zone. Because if you say we have the president, well, fine, we have the president, we're happy we have the president. But then you have the Southwest, where they have the vice president and the speaker. And we have no objection to that. We are happy that the speaker is there and is winning. So we don't have problem with that. But the issue is that let there be balance. Yeah, that's my only reason on that. And apart from that, we talk of ranking and other issues.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Well, there we have the senator who will be contesting. He stated his own position. He's just one of those that will be contesting for that position. And we're going to keep watching the atmosphere here, monitoring all that is going on. And as it happens, I just want to say, remember, 10 a.m. is when the event is slated to start in the Senate. And then we will be monitoring how it unfolds. Back to you, Chamberlain.
Well, yes, indeed, Larry. Again, thank you for your reporting. Now, we will keep our eye on the money. Well, we'll go to break and come back. We'll wonder what happens to those who say they will shop on the floor. How will that also play out? We're back in a moment. Welcome back. Does the Commission have the powers to withdraw the certificate of return of someone who has been declared winner?
Are you talking about withdrawal or
withholding?
Withholding. Okay.
Withholding.
Withholding. Ex facie, that is on the surface of it. The Constitution does. I mean, the Commission, that's INEC, does not have power to, because you see, once a declaration is made by the returning officer,
yeah,
like the judge said, INEC becomes frontus official. But what we are quarreling with is that the judge failed to interrogate the validity of this declaration. That's why I made that distinction between announcement and declaration.
On the part of the plaintiff.
Because you see, when there is duress, anything in law that is done by duress or through duress or with duress becomes null and void, ineffectual, and all of that. And the implication of it is that when the commissioner, when the returning officer declares that election, he is the agent of INEC. INEC is not in a position to reverse him again.
If I go jump in and hypothesize for a bit, do you think that INEC would have been able to prove that their officers declared that result under duress?
Yes, they would have been able to do that if the judge adverted his mind to that. But the point is that the judge almost postponed it. You know, he didn't make any declaration or any ruling on that issue of duress. And like we have said, duress makes the returning officer now be acting for the candidate. Because if, for instance, I put a gun on your head, ask you to do something, you are now acting as my agent, not the agent of your principal.
Are you then saying that INEC acted unlawfully by withholding that?
Yes, that is ordinarily, that's what I'm saying. Assuming, for instance, the man had made a valid declaration, INEC didn't have any business withholding that. that
One more thing before we
even go. In the context of having withheld it, until and unless they prove that it was under duress, they don't have the power to withhold.
Okay, and that wasn't proven because you said they didn't interrogate it.
But then that can be done at the election tribunal.
Okay,
that's the window.
Let me bring this to your attention. Section 75 of that Electoral Act, where, well, yes, it talks about a sealed certificate of return at an election in a prescribed form shall be issued within 7 days to every candidate who has won an election under this act. It goes on. But look at sub 2. Where the commission refuses and or neglects to issue a certificate of return, a certified true copy of the order of a court of competent jurisdiction shall ipso facto be sufficient for the purpose of swearing in a candidate declared as the winner by that court. Can the governor resort to this?
Yeah, sure. It is open to him. It is open to him. Indeed, if he is able to get a certificate, the judgment, the details of the judgment, and make a CTC of it, and send it to the speaker, the president of the Senate, he can be sworn in based on that, because that's what the law says. You get the point? That is a way of averting now, the impunity, so to speak.
Now, all of this,
INEC.
All of this does not mean that if at the point of a tribunal,
yes,
they can still take that. So whatever decision the tribunal reaches,
yes,
can override all of this.
Oh yeah, sure. Oh sure. The election tribunal, if for any reason the petitioner is smart enough to produce evidence, and the evidence abound. You remember at a particular point in time when this matter was really raging, there was one aide of Rocha Zokorocha, then governor of Imo State, that you interviewed on this program, and he admitted on national television that he was the person who made sure that man did not move an inch until he declared, his principal. So that's a major admission.
Well, I've got that point, Mr. George K, legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much.
We'll keep an eye on the National Assembly, and there you see the images coming through, live pictures as well from the National Assembly, where the election of the principal officers of the House will happen today. Who will emerge as Speaker and Senate President? We'll keep tabs on that. Well, that is the show today. Thank you all for watching. We will see you tomorrow after the election, of course. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Maybe by 12 o'clock we'll be expecting those results to come through. I'm Gimba Umar.
I'm Ayamakine.
Expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.